2025 was a pretty weird year for me. There were so many fantastic games that came out, and yet I feel like I didn't get to play too many of them. Nevertheless, I played what I could, and I have decided on which are the 10 greatest games I've played in the last 365 days. Of course, there are a few rules that need to be implemented. Rule number 1. I had to have finished the main campaign or a single playthrough if the game has multiple endings. If not, at least get through a majority of the game. If the game is endless, just clock in a handful of hours. Rule number 2. Early access titles do not count because they aren't done developing their game. So, still no Celico, unfortunately. Rule number 3. Online multiplayer games and multiplayer-centric games do not count. Anything can be fun with friends, so no Repo, no Peak, and no Guilty as Sock. All three of those are really great games, but unfortunately, can't make the cut. Rule number 4. Re-releases and remasters do not count. Trust me, I would love to talk about My Friendly Neighborhood for the entire video, but that game came out in 2023, so even though it came to console in 2025, doesn't count. Rule number 5. No games from a company that is owned by or deep in bed with Tencent or the Saudi royal family. These include games from Ubisoft, Scopely, SNK, Niantic, Riot Games, and Clay Entertainment. And rule number 6, no DLC and no expansions, because those are not games. They are DLC and expansions. Now, without further ado, these are my 10 most favorite games in 2025. To start us off at number 10, we have Power Wash Simulator 2. At first, I was pretty disappointed with Power Wash Sim 2. There were far too many technical issues at launch between the random frame drops and occasional glitches in save states where dirt was either reset or misplaced entirely. That, plus the co-op not functioning correctly, is why I cannot put the game higher than this spot. Thankfully, these are issues that should get ironed out over time. They are fixable. As for areas where things wouldn't be fixable, like pacing, level design, and mechanics, well, Future Lab knocked it out of the park. Many problems from the first game, such as soap being useless and jobs taking hours to finish because of unnecessarily tough filth, have been alleviated here. The pacing is perfect in how often you're doing small jobs and big jobs. Each location is fun with its themes and even has sections that reveal new objects to clean. And most importantly, soap is now useful. This is a game I'll keep coming back to as new expansions get released. I just hope that those performance issues get addressed sooner rather than later. Number 9 is Mario Kart World. People can whine and complain about the game's price all they want. I love Mario Kart. I've played every game in the series ever since I was a little kid. So even if it was $100, I was going to buy Mario Kart World, and I do not regret spending $80 on it. The game is cool. Is it the best in the series? No, but for what it is really freaking cool. I liked the idea of racing to the next destination, even if some of those races could have gone an extra lap. Knockout Tour is perhaps the best game mode in the entire franchise, and I've been dying to play more of that with my friends. I love the mix of old and new courses in this installment too. I would go so far as to say that this is the best selection of courses we've seen since Mario Kart Wii. Initially, my only complaint was how frickin' tedious it was to unlock all of the NPC characters, but an update to customize items in Versus mode has alleviated that. Plus, Kamek only is now my favorite rule set, just because of the unmitigated chaos it brings to races. There's simply too much to love here, and I really hope that Nintendo offers some post-launch support within the next year or two. Number 8 goes to Sonic Racing Crossworlds. If you didn't see my video on Mojo Plays, Yes, I actually preferred Sonic Cross Worlds over Mario Kart World. Both are great games, don't get me wrong, but what I really enjoyed about Sonic Cross Worlds was its level design and presentation. I'll always enjoy a racing game where the courses are static, making me run 3 laps with little to no alteration to the course between laps. But Sonic Cross Worlds, with its stage hazards, course transformations, and transition into completely different races, is constantly keeping you on your toes no matter how many times you've done a particular race. The power-ups reinforce that as you scramble to hold on to rings and items that could counter an incoming projectile and maintain your speed. However, what knocks it down this far in the list is how the roster has been handled. Really, there could have been a lot more Sonic characters thrown into this game. Where's Fang the Sniper? Where's Bean the Dynamite? And as for the guest racers, come on, why does Hatsune Miku get a voiceover while the other guest racers speak in sound effects? Whose decision was that? Number 7, we get a weird entry, but this goes to Nubby's Number Factory. If you've watched most of the videos I've worked on for Mojo Plays throughout the past year, you'll probably recognize this game. I have talked about Nubby's Number Factory in a few videos when appropriate, and I wanted to spotlight this game for good reason. It's an engaging game of numbers that just scratches some Neanderthal portion of my brain. Yes, it is ultimately a glorified pachinko machine, but it's a pachinko game centered around the number of times you can make Nubby bounce between pegs, each bounce weakening the peg's number in half. Exceeding the score requirement multiple times will strengthen and rearrange the pegs, thus making it harder to pop pegs, while also allowing you to possibly exceed the next score requirement several times over. But here's the catch. Clearing pegs will bite you in the ass more than you would expect in a game based on pachinko. You need to find the balance between scoring as many points as possible in a single launch and keeping the pegs beefed up for more points. This dance is what makes the game way more difficult than one may be led to believe, and once you've done a couple of runs, well, you might end up like me and wind up putting in a little too much time for a game that really doesn't change all that much after you beat the first run. A good game for your lunch break, but in all honesty, don't expect to lose entire afternoons or evenings playing it. Unless you're somebody like me. At number 6, we have Kirby Air Riders. Yeah, Nintendo makes a second appearance already, and with a second racing game, and to me, this was the best racing game we got all year. I'm a sucker for anything directed by Masahiro Sakurai, not because of Smash Brothers, but because the man knows how to make a damn fine video game. He and his team know how to strike that perfect balance between casual, arcadey gameplay with deep mechanics and diverse game modes. Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial are a ton of fun to play, even against the AI. Road Trip was fun too, though a little long in the tooth. But what really made me love this game more than Mario Kart World and Sonic Cross Worlds is how convenient everything is for the player. Sakurai's wife is a UI genius with how everything is neatly organized. The checklist of challenges offer a way for you to jump into super specific challenges with a simple push of the button instead of having to go and set everything up yourself manually. And you get all of the information you need for rider and machine stats without getting bombarded with other info. This is the player-first mentality that I feel a lot of AAA games completely throw out the window these days, all in favor of hand-holding all the time. Stuff like this is why Sakurai always gets my dollar. He can make the weirdest shit possible and still manage to make it make sense and make it insanely fun. At number 5, we have Sword of the Sea. This was an interesting case because I initially wasn't interested in Sword of the Sea at all. I saw it and thought, I've played Journey, I've played Flower, I've played Abzu. The best you guys at Giant Squid have to add is a skateboard, and the only way to make it seem different was by turning the board into a sword? This is dumb. This is stupid. Get out of here. Dead game. Well, I was wrong. I wound up playing Sword of the Sea about 3 or 4 times and spent nearly 3 weeks trying to get the Platinum Trophy. Every turn, every sway, every trick, every launch felt amazing to pull off, so much so that I spent extra time in some areas trying to chain tricks together from halfway across the room, or just dicking around and splashing about and seeing what other cool shit I could pull off. On top of that, there are all kinds of hidden areas that are subtle at just enough to where they seem obvious the second you spot them. You know, that moment where you feel like an idiot because I swear I've been all over this map, and I still can't find a new path, you sons of bitches. I can go behind this wall along this other path that I saw from way back at the entrance? Yeah, it's that feeling of discovery, and there's still a part of me that wants to play this game just one more time. And honestly, I gotta say, this is the best game Giant Squid has made in the team's history. Way better than any other game they put out when they were known as That Game Company. Number 4, and this was a tough decision for me, but Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Man, I thought for sure this was going to be my game of the year. I was championing Pirate Yakuza for several weeks as I played the game on my own and soon wound up doing the long play for it for Long Play Archive. Yes, it has the thrilling combat of every other Yakuza game with some new gimmicks appropriate for Majima. Yes, there are plenty of goofy sub-stories to experience, just as every Yakuza game has. But man, that ship combat is what reeled me in. No matter how many ships I fought, or how many times I replayed certain battles, there was something entertaining about a massive galleon being able to make sharp turns with rockets. And I was giggling like a madman every time I saw my weird-ass band of misfits boarding a bunch of thugs. Then there's the entire segment with the Minato girls that you all need to see for yourselves. And above everything, the one part of the game that tied everything together, it wasn't the captivating allegories to Treasure Island, or the B-plot that gets you the busted-as-hell instruments of the Dark Gods. No, the best part of this entire game was seeing Kay again. She's too perfect for this world. Number 3, the bronze medal belongs to Promise Mascot Agency. So I was about to finalize this list until I started playing this midway into my Christmas vacation. Promise Mascot Agency is one of the coolest games I've played all year. You are an underling of the Yakuza who botched a job so hard that he lost the family all of their money. As punishment, you are banished to a rotting town with the goal of possibly resurrecting an old mascot agency the family used to run. This game is basically a beautiful, occasionally messed up blend of Yakuza's Hostess minigames and, a childhood favorite of mine, The Simpsons Hit and Run. Half of your time will be spent driving around, exploring the town, meeting new characters, recruiting mascots to make more money, and collecting items. The other half is managing your staff, sending them on jobs, helping them when trouble arises, and taking care of them to boost stats and further drive revenue. And in between all of that is some of the funniest writing I've witnessed all year. Pinky has quickly become one of my favorite video game characters ever, with her excessively aggressive attitude and constant sass. And Shiori is a hilarious stick of dynamite that reminds me too much of one of my own friends. Promise Mascot Agency is one of those games that I rarely recommend at full price. Truly, the best $25 I've spent all year. For the silver medal at number 2, we have Dispatch. Good God, dude, it was really hard deciding whether to put this above or below Promise Mascot Agency. I had a ton of fun sailing the seas with Pirate Yakuza. I loved everything about Promise Mascot Agency, but Dispatch has been on my brain so much that I've been telling all of my friends about it. Maybe I'm just glad to see that the Best of Telltale Games is back, and the team has belted out an original game with an original idea. I'm still not super crazy about episodic releases, but that's just personal taste. Regardless, I have played and experienced this game a total of 4 times now, planning a 5th in the near future. Whereas the Telltale games of old ultimately wound up in the same spot with very little difference in endings, Dispatch actually does make sure your decisions affect certain story beats and dialogue choices. Plus, rather than retread the old point-and-click adventure style, Ad Hoc Studio gave us something more on the strategy management sim side, where you had to send out heroes to distress calls that fit their skill set. While the risk of winning or losing is completely elusive, the story continues even if you ignore or fail all calls. Playing that way is only robbing yourself of an amazing experience. Adjusting your roster's stats, discovering their powers, finding synergy between all of them, it all comes together to create a fun mission structure. As for the story, the only character I didn't like was one that only appears for maybe 2 scenes. Everyone else was brilliantly written, brilliantly performed by the cast, and brilliantly designed in visuals. By the way, Blonde Blazer is the only correct answer. I don't care what any of you say. Don't at me. Number 1. My game of 2025 is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. By the time this video goes live, I will have hopefully finished up Act 2, or at least gotten through the majority of it. And my god, what the fuck is this game? I was already excited for this game way back when it was revealed during the Xbox showcase in June 2024. It had a unique art style, and that is definitely one way to grab my attention. Show me something I haven't seen before. What I wasn't expecting was a game that is just inches away from being completely flawless in every single way. The different mechanics every character brings to combat, the mesmerizing sights of this strange world, the beautifully written dialogue and performances by the actors, and that stunning music that greets you every time you boot up the game. On top of that, this is the only video game that has actually managed to make me cry, and it almost made me cry a second time. It probably has already if I finish the game by the time you see this. Please, if you love video games in any way, shape, or form, you need to play Expedition 33. This is one of those moments where you'll experience something truly wondrous, similar to how the world lived through Final Fantasy VII way back in 1997. We don't get games of this caliber as often anymore. We get a lot of really great games, but this is something else. By the way, Ubisoft was wrong to let these developers walk away. I hope other developers follow suit and start leaving these big publishers as they're getting in bed with companies that are just as shady as them. I am beyond amped to see what Sandfall Interactive has in store for the future. Way to go, guys! You truly made one of the greatest games ever.